people of the World Wide Web. So it is Cypher Sigma. It is Wednesday, so here's another look what I've been watching. Quite an ensemble that we have this week's. Yeah, managed to get quite a few this week. Obviously, we are on episode 98, I believe, leading up to 100. I do have some plans once episode 100 goes out to maybe change things up, but that will be explained in future videos. So what you come here for, so basically this series documents what physical media I've been watching over the past 7 days. So I got through quite a few. So the first one up is the original Star Wars trilogy. So yes, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Did really like these. I found a little bit mixed feelings at first going back to it, because obviously having seen so much newer stuff, you do notice how dated some of this is. Obviously some of the stuff, obviously because you'll see I've watched a lot more of it, you could tell where they've tweaked some of the animation and stuff like this, obviously in Return of the Jedi specifically, and other places, even Luke and Obi-Wan, where they're on the sand speeder going through, is it Mos Eisley? And some of the stuff has been input there, and it kind of sits a little, even though I know they've kind of packed it out to make it look more like the world, it kind of makes it almost look more out of place with the CG that's used. Just my opinion, but I still did enjoy it. Obviously it is a landmark series, and Return of the Jedi is always and has been my favourite Return of the Jedi film. Let me know your favourite Star Wars movie and why. I say I love it just because all the stunts and everything else, and I get so angry when that little Ewok, the two get blown up and one goes back to his mate, and that makes me always so sad. So I switched on, so I managed to watch a few movies with my wife. So first off, one we were talking about was Speed. So you saw or would have seen recently that I picked up Speed 2. So we went back and watched Speed 1 first, still have Speed 2 to watch. Really enjoyed this movie. It has been so long since I've watched it. I forgot how such a good movie it is. Obviously in the early days, there was a few little bits that you kind of shout out like, oh, you could have done this or you could have done that. But you know, I still think it is a great movie. You know, Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves are great. Then next off, we finished off with the special. So this is the final episode, or the 1.5 hour special of the series Green Wing that I like to drop on the floor. So it is all right. They obviously brought stuff back they didn't know if they were going to be cancelled. It is a very change of pace because several characters are on the run, and there are more focused other people than there are in a series. Some of the more popular characters kind of sit back a little bit. It kind of ended it all, and it kind of tied it up, which I think was great. There is an alternate ending on here, but we never watched it. I say it was all right. My wife far likes it more than I do, but I still enjoyed watching it and experienced it. So then on the back of watching Speed, I managed to pull this out, so Lethal Weapon, and we watched Lethal Weapon 1. That's why I'm showing it here, because she doesn't want to watch anymore, but she did enjoy it, did quite like it. Obviously, Danny Glover being 40, in his early 40s, playing a 50-year-old man. Obviously, you don't get the toilet scene from 2, but I still think it's a good film. Gary Busey, Richard Donner, obviously a big fan of him, obviously doing early Superman movies. Or Superman movie, obviously, and you have the Richard Donner cut of 2. But she, as I say, she did enjoy it, but not enough to go on. I think Riggs and Murtaugh are a kind of very old style buddy cop, and maybe it wasn't as you see in a lot more comedy side of things, a Rush Hour and that. I don't think it may be too more action heavy for her. So then we moved on to the final season of Tokyo Ghoul. So this is, it's part 1, sorry, not part 2. So this is the final series, this is the first half. So this is a far bigger series. You'll find out more of my review when you watch when I've watched finished watching the second part. It is very confusing. I'm only going to glaze over it now and explain a lot more when I've seen the second half. But we'll put it there. But still glad to have it in. Obviously, that was a vintage find, and obviously that will tick off a series on my list. Then next up we have Star Wars Part 1, 2 and 3. So this goes, but I do enjoy the Clone Wars saga more than anything. It was nice to go back and obviously see to Naboo and everything else and see the characters and how they come from. I'm a big fan of Jar Jar Binks. I don't get why he gets all the hate. He's kind of the modern day Ewok for what the Ewoks were, and then obviously you have the Porgs for the latest one. Obviously, the Clone one I think is probably far my favourite. I like the big leading up to the big wars and stuff like that. The Gungan war battle on that at the beginning wasn't too bad. Obviously Natalie Portman, Keira Knightley in one was quite good. It's all right. I don't think they get it. For me, consistency was this. They knew where they were going. 4, 5 and 6 were already laid out. This set up the story for that, and to be honest, I think it works quite well with setting up Vader and explaining why Vader became Vader, and obviously because of certain stuff is tricked in that. And in Obi-Wan, I don't think that's bad. Obviously we got the Obi-Wan series off the back of it, and then the final one that I got around seeing was Sin City 2, A Dame to Kill For. Now I haven't watched number 1 in a long time, so I didn't remember it. I believe there are a few actors that swapped out from the first one, and I found this one all right. Obviously that it is very beautiful in its style that it does. Where I'm trying to think, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I quite liked his character and Gracie and how they worked into the story, because I don't believe they were featured in one. And some of them, how I was, and obviously how kind of it's Bruce Willis is there but isn't there, and that Marv obviously still being Mickey Rourke, and then obviously I do like Robert Rodriguez and I do like Frank Miller. It's not one I'd necessarily gravitate to. I believe from what my memory is of one, I far preferred one than this. But that is a look at everything I've been watching. So, as I say, I have a question down in chat. Have you seen any of these? So I believe this is 98, so 2 more before we get to 100, and then there may be some changes ahead. Otherwise, hope you're having a nice day. I've been Sigma Screen Time, and I shall see you in the next one.